Bienvenido de nuevo a mi canal. Stefan Wolf está aquí sin otro video de nitidez.
Welcome back to my channel. Stefan Wolf is here with not another sharpening video. In front of you, a newspaper from Catalonia. I don't know how to pronounce that in English. A province of Spain. And the news these days, the coronavirus. This newspaper was used to wrap this knife. Pallares Solsona, if I'm not mistaken, is the correct pronunciation, or something like that. Obviously, kitchen knife, a traditional kitchen knife, no polymers, nothing fancy, quite unusual shape, in my opinion, at least for the Bulgarian market. Obviously, plenty of hand finishing on this knife. Let's see the specs. Basically, 165 millimeters blade length, 115 millimeters handle, the cutting edge 150 millimeters, the most tall part of the knife 38 millimeters, thickness of the spine just in front of the handle 1.6 millimeters, and very gentle, very good convex grind, and ending down to 0.2 millimeters, 1.5 centimeters in front of the handle, and 0.2 millimeters, around 2 centimeters from the tip towards the handle. The handle circumference 88 millimeters at the thickest back part. Again, if you need to pause, these are my measurements. Metal ferrule, pin construction, so I presume the blade tank, a rat tank, is at least until the first third of the handle. Gently taper towards the blade. Neutral shape, good finishing. The wood is a boxwood. It took me some time to find what kind of wood is in Bulgarian translation, and I'm very pleasantly surprised because I like this kind of wood. It's lightweight and it's hard. You can see gaps between the blade and handle. I will fill them with beeswax or a glue. The only minus of this knife, in my opinion, the tip is a little bit broken. Let's try to focus. Yeah, just a millimeter and a half. And from looking under magnification of the breaking point, I can tell you that this, by the way, carbon steel, for me unknown signature of manufacturer, is at least 57-58 to have such clean break, because it's extremely thin. So the hardness, the heat treatment should be on par with its role being a kitchen helper. In the hand, very neutral, very comfortable, warm, feel from the wood, simple markings, nothing fancy. For me it's just good enough. You can see the thickness of the spine is almost constant. until to 2.5 millimeters from the tip. Very generous belly. Basically this is the end of the cutting edge. One continuous curvature. Little bit of flat here and all the way for rocking motion or slicing. That's are my first impressions, and I'm very pleasantly surprised, especially for the price. I get this knife here in Bulgaria, of course link in the description box. I have no idea how popular these knives are in Spain or in Western Europe. Basically, I don't know anything about the brand. The few things I know that they produce massive quantities of cutting tools, I can't speak this morning, sorry. Tools for working on your land, etc. Let's check the sharpness from, not the box, from the newspaper. In my opinion, this is a usable edge. Of course, I'm going to improve the sharpness. In the next part of this video, I will show you cutting some products with the factory edge, then sharpen the knife. I presume sharpening with oil stones, probably Northern Indian medium, Awashita, and then black or translucent Arkansas. Checking the factory edge, starting with an apple. And it's very awkward angle from where I am sitting, trying not to cut myself. And I presume this is not the best angle for you to observe, but sorry. You can see basically no problem to cut into waxy products like a green apple. The grind is more than decent, I can tell you that, and this is the first thing I cut with this knife. The sharpness from the factory is good enough. Of course, this apple will not be wasted, it will be eaten. Let's check onion. You can see instant discoloration. It's a carbon steel knife, and you will see patina forming. Little bit of wedging. I will drop the thickness behind the edge a little bit, so a wider secondary bevel. Let's try not to cut myself, basically effortlessly. Sharp edges, you can see, the imprint on my index finger. Keep in mind it's very white, so very light. So chopping requires a little bit persuasion from your side. It's not only the weight of the knife, as in some very good Japanese knives, the laser cut gyutus, let's say, and a little bit of fat and protein, some kind of pancetta. I'm trying to do a very thin slice. Basically, no problem. After sharpening from my side, the things will be even better. So, first impressions, the grind is not bad at all. Rising up or bringing the sharpness a notch up, a level up by my sharpening procedures, fixing the a little bit broken tip, sealing the gaps, a couple of coats of mineral oil on the handle, sanding the contact areas with your hand, between metal and hand, and this knife will be ready for the kitchen usage at my household. Still can't talk, too early in the morning. So next part, sharpening. As usual, I'm starting with distressing the edge, just dragging across the coarser stone in the progression. I'm starting with Northern India medium 8x3 by half an inch. Excellent stone. If you're a subscriber of me, you know that I use predominantly this stone when I start sharpening kitchen knives. As I showed you, the tip was a little bit broken, nothing worrying, and after some work with 180 grit sandpaper on my counter, I removed a little bit of material from the backside at the front of the blade, so I dropped the point a little bit, and now I'm joining the two lines, starting with a moderate amount of pressure, no more than 500-600 grams. The generous convex is very gentle, it's very well done in my opinion, so the blade is almost to zero with very minimal secondary bevel. And now I'm creating one, removing the material from, I presume the edge was buffed in the factory as finishing touches, as final sharpening before sending it in a newspaper. Simple carbon steel. I don't know what kind of steel, I don't know the manufacturer, the signature, the designation. For me it's a little bit similar to C75 carbon steel that Opinel use. Correct me if I'm wrong, that Opinel use that type of simple carbon steel, but I'm very pleasantly surprised by the hardness. I formed the burr extremely easy and very quickly, and just minimizing it with these final strokes on the medium India. Inspection of the blade. Having good white source is a blessing, and in my opinion not too shabby. From a coarser stone, around 40-50 microns, a good amount of sharpness. So my lovely wash heater, unknown origin. It's not lily white, it's not Pike #1 by Norton. It's random flea market wash heater. It's freshly wrapped up to 150 grit silicone carbide powder, abrasive grain on glass, so it cuts pretty fast. The reason of these strokes, including this stone into the sharpening progression, is to refine a little bit the scratch pattern and to continue refining the burr. And one of these strokes I saw that the quality of the video is not so good. I saw the burr just fall off from the edge. Being so hard, this stone is not very suitable for refining scratch pattern, but as I said, freshly wrapped on 150 grit silicone carbide abrasive grain, it works, sort of. And it's suited well enough for simple carbon steel. So continuing with good results, switching the sharpening setup. My kitten is around me while I'm doing this voiceover. My favorite hot plate serving mats from IKEA. And this is translucent Arkansas from Nature Whetstone Company, 8x2 by 1 inch. Excellent stone. It's wrapped up to 400 grit silicone carbide abrasive grain on glass, but the surface is a little bit burnished. I presume I have a couple more or a half dozen of sharpenings before I need to refresh the surface, so the end result will be pretty decent. Again, simple carbon steels are a joy to sharpen, and finishing them on such hard and fine natural stone is something very special as end result and as feel during the sharpening procedure. Now, my usual micro beveling, you will see 6 strokes, 3 alternating for each side, then dropping to the original secondary edge angle, and then 2 more. This is something I developed for me. I think it works, or probably it works only in my head. Probably the second is top. Final inspection, and I think this is a sharp knife. Some people want to see the standing paper cut test, I think is called. I'm not sure that using this glossy paper from IKEA catalogs is the best media to do that, and you can see I angled the knife a little bit, so I'm cheating a little bit. But it cuts. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.